Hi guys, going to talk you through how to use this cash flow forecast spreadsheet that we put together for everyone and are encouraging everyone to share. It is deliberately basic. Unless you are already doing something a little bit more sophisticated with your accountant using software or tying directly into Zero or whatever other platform you're using, then for me, the best thing that you can do as a business owner yourself right now is to keep it simple, something that you can control and understand. It's okay to get some input, but you as a business owner need to get a good grip on this right now. So I think this most simple of spreadsheets will hopefully help a lot of you. Um, Obviously, you're watching this video already. I'm going to go through in more detail about how you fill this out and how you use the spreadsheet. There is an instructions tab to cover the basic steps, just to remind you as you're working your way through. So first thing you need to do is enter your opening bank balance. So down here in the bottom left, anything in yellow, generally you're going to need to type in yourself. So what is your bank balance as of the beginning of this week? We're presuming you're going to start using this on the 23rd, the week starting the 23rd. You can change that date and all the dates will shift forward if you're picking this up at a later week. But down here, what's your opening bank balance? Simple as that. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is look at who owes you money in terms of your customers and trying to work out as much as possible when that money will be coming in for sales that you've already made. So you're going to need to look at your debtor list and work out when you think people are going to be paying and putting in a breakdown of these over the next coming weeks, for example. So this isn't new sales, this is sales you've already made that are sitting in your books at the moment. Next, you're going to be looking at any new sales coming in, so forecasting these coming in. Remember, this is when you expect to get paid for those, not when you're going to invoice them. So if you're giving credit terms out at the moment still, then you need to be putting them into the week that you think that you're going to receive the money. Next is entering any available grants that are coming in. So if you're going to be getting a grant on the business rate, any of the business rate reliefs, we expect those to come in at some point in April. We're not sure the exact week yet, but entering those in. If you're eligible for the employer support grant, and putting that in as well, and anything else the government are going to adding those in as you go along. Leave the new business loans for now. That's likely to come afterwards once you've done this cash flow forecasting, unless you've already agreed one in advance and you know what money is coming in for that. So go along and add all those in, and then you've got an idea of what money's coming in. That's the first step you need to do. The second step is obviously working out what money's going out. Now, before you even do this, you need to go through and look at your costs at the moment and work out what are essential and what are non-essential. And as much as possible, if you are struggling, stripping out any non-essential costs, with keeping in mind that you don't want to strip out so many costs that you can't get going again and it's going to hinder you once this is all over. So it's a bit of a balancing act, but first of all, strip down what you can and then work out what you're going to need to actually pay out. So once you've done that, you can then enter here in any of these expense categories here. We've loosely put some in. You can rename these, whatever works for you. It doesn't really matter. The concept's the same. But work out what payments you're going to be sending out week by week as you go over these next 3 months and entering those in. The best way to do that is by looking at your profit and loss report out of your bookkeeping system, talk to your accountant if you're not sure, look at the last couple of months, and then work out what it's likely to be going forward once you've stripped out essential costs. So putting all of these in here. One point to remember, this is the cost that you're going to have to pay out in terms of cash. If you're looking at your P&L and you're VAT registered, you're likely to see costs in there, or you will see costs in there, net of VAT. So for this purpose, to keep it simple, you want to be including everything in here that you need to pay out. So if you're paying something that has VAT on it, put the total gross amount in here. So if your rent is £1,000 plus VAT, and you're looking at your P&L, it's got £1,000 in there, you're going to be needing to pay out 20% of the top, so £1,200. So make sure you watch out for that. The second thing to do in terms of money going out is to look at what money you've already committed to and that needs to be repaid. So typically things like mortgages or loans or any equipment or leasing you've got for cars maybe, or any credit cards that need to be repaid, anything like that. So you won't see those on your P&L if you're looking at your profit and loss. So to get a good grip of those, I mean, hopefully as a business owner you already know, but you need to be looking at your bank, seeing what was going out, and maybe perhaps if you can interpret it well enough, looking at your balance sheet. Not all business owners will be comfortable doing that, so you might need to talk to your accountant. But working out what are the loans and other balances that need to be repaid, and entering those in there as well. And obviously, if you're entitled to any repayment holidays on those, then make sure you put those in here. The next thing is your supplier balances. So a bit like your customer balances, what money have you already committed to? So what bills have you already received in from your suppliers for equipment or services you've already had that you haven't paid out yet? So again, they're not going to show in your P&L going forward. You're going to need to look at your supplier list and see who you owe money to and work out who you need to pay and over what period, and enter those ones in there as well. And then finally, any HMRC payments that are going out. I've put a red block all the way through the VAT because as of the government's announcement on Friday, no VAT will need to be paid up until the end of June. So if you don't need to, then if you are struggling in any way, then you don't need to pay that. You don't need to ask them or apply for that. That's just standard. You just don't need to pay that yet. It will become due further down the line, but for now, if you're struggling, then don't even factor that in for me. Okay, so that should then give you a good idea of the money going out. We can then see how much money's come in or out overall that month. And because we've got your opening bank balance in at the start, we can see what your closing bank balance is going to be week by week as you go through up until the end of the year, end of the quarter, so end of June. So in this situation here, you can see that it's all fine until the 4th or the 5th, and then it starts to become negative territory, so you've got a problem there. If you already have an overdraft, or you can agree one, or you're going to extend it or increase it, then make sure you enter that figure in here as well. So you can see what would happen if we said that you had a £5,000 overdraft, then actually you'd be okay until this week here, the 18th of the 5th. So that's really important. So this line down here is going to give you a good indication of what additional funding you're going to need to do. So this is when you need to start having a look now. Once you've got a good idea there, as it stands at the moment, what can be done. So there's any cost now that you're going back through that you might be able to hold off on terms of not incurring the non-essential all of a sudden, then you might be able to do that. Obviously, there's drawings and directors up there. As business owners, we all know that you need to be paid, but perhaps you might be able to withdraw a bit less. So that might be something that you do there. If not, and you've got it looking as lean as possible, then this is the point where you need to go and start looking at alternative sources of funding. So loans or any of the other government grants that are available, or talk to your accountant. But at least you have a clear picture there. Some lenders are willing to lend at the moment without doing this, with sort of you might be able to extend your overdraft with very little questions asked. Some are carrying on as normal in the sense that they want to see some sort of planning. So this would be good enough for most to be able to show what your cash flow forecast is looking like and prove what amount you need. You might need to go slightly further forward. You can carry this forward. If anyone wants me to do that, let me know. Yeah, so hopefully this will give you a good grip on what's happening right now over the next 3 months of your business. As a business owner, this is the most important thing you can do right now in terms of making sure you survive and thrive at the end of this as well. We split it into weekly. You definitely need to be doing more often than monthly at the moment. Weekly is probably a good balance. Some people will be doing this daily. For me, that adds another layer of complexity if you're not completely comfortable with that. So I think weekly is okay, but you do need to be looking at this daily, because there's no good just doing this at the start and then leaving it and just referring back to it a few times. This will change constantly. So you need to be going in here daily and updating this with what it looks like people are going to be saying they're going to be paying you, what new sales are looking like coming in, as and when grants become available, and what your costs are looking like as well going out. So hopefully this will help some of you. If you do have any questions or you're not sure how to use it, then do reach out. We will try as much as possible to give some advice on this. Obviously, we are extremely busy, and this is proving to be quite a popular resource. So we'll do what we can in terms of helping people. But most important thing is just to make a start on this.